Last time. I encourage all of you to go through there and pick and choose and mark off what you've done, and then give your manual to Pete, and he'll initial it, and also mark it on our board. Down here. So that's nice. Contest chief judge is Pete. We have judges: Jim Squires, George Scarrett, Pete Bruno. We have two timers today. We have Rochelle Standish, Peggy Iva, and then we have counters, which will be Peggy Iva and Jim Squires. As I mentioned, Alan Roops will be our humorous speaker. Table topic contestants: Alan Roops, Melody Keller, and Mark Nelson. So now I'm going to have Pete Bruno, our chief judge, explain more about the contest.
Welcome to our annual contest where we sometimes struggle to be humorous. If there's one assignment that comes up, so many people say, boy, that's just not my forte. So I'm always glad when there's someone willing to give that a crack. After all, the entertaining speaker is the 11th bridge speaker in the first manual, or speech I should say, in the first manual. So we try to get a little bit humorous, although you cannot just come up and do a string of one-liners. You must actually put together a speech with humor in it as compared to being a stand-up comedian with one humorous thing after another. Some of the other rules and guidance for the judges: the humorous speech must not be less than 4 minutes and must not be longer than 7.5 minutes, or the speaker is disqualified. So even though the lights go 5, 6, and 7, the speaker doesn't have to hit the green light to be eligible, but must wrap up within 30 seconds of the red light coming on for the humorous speech. For table topics, fortunately, the lights are more in sync with what's required. So the green light is at 1, and the table topic must be at least 1 minute. Amber comes on at 1:30, and red comes on at 2, and again, 30 seconds to wrap up after that red light, or you were disqualified. Thinking about being disqualified, that's all we ever find out. We never find out your actual time from the timers. They either say you're disqualified or they don't. When the report comes from Peggy to our contest chairman, Donna. One thing you need to know that's in the rules too is if you feel as though you should not have been disqualified, or if some ghastly mistake has been made by the counters, which I've never seen since 1985, but if you feel that way, you've got to go ahead and say something before the contest is over, or forever hold your peace. In regards to the rules for the judges, what you do with your sheet is after you tally it up and fill out the coupon on the bottom, you tear off the coupon, and that's all that goes to the counters. It must be signed or it's not acceptable. So be sure to tear off your coupon at the end. Another thing to remember is after the thunderous applause as each person is done, then there's 1 minute for the judges to complete their ballots. Our area governor tells us that after the table topic is presented, each person competing has 5 minutes to make notes, and then the one who draws number 1 gets to stay, and the others must leave the room so they cannot hear what the other person had to say. So there's a table out here, and you can shut the doors and take care of that requirement there as well. Okay. Oh, also, in case you wonder when the timing starts, it's as soon as you quote first verbal or introductory sound. So gestures apparently don't count in this contest. It's the first verbal or introductory sound is when the stopwatches start. Okay, it's time for me to return control of the meeting to our contest chair, who is eagerly awaiting your participation, as well as finishing her competent leadership manual. Donna?
title today. Please welcome Alan Rubes. I'm a rootin' tootin' cowboy. Not, I'm a rootin' tootin' cowboy. Not Alan Rubes.
Hey everybody, I'm Cowboy Al. I'm the rootin'est, tootin'est cowboy this side of the Mississippi. Well, I am the rootin'est, tootin'est cowboy this side of the Yellowstone. Well, I'm the rootin'est, tootin'est cowboy this side of the Powder River. Unfortunately, most of the time, Powder River's dry. So, I'm a rootin' tootin' cowboy. Not. My daughter had a horse, and this horse had a penchant for getting into trouble. And he got into a pile of barbed wire, cut his hide all the heck, and so Leighton and I took the horse, took it to the vet, and the vet looked at it and said it wasn't that big a deal, just need to keep an eye on it, you change the dressings and make sure it keeps nice and clean, and it should heal on its own. So my daughter went about doing that, but it turned out that she had to be gone for an extended period of time, and I was champion of that parent. And I can do this. So I went to the horse, and of course, in order to get a hold of the horse, you got to put the halter on it and get it out of the enclosed area over to the trailer. And I went over there to put the halter on, and the horse wasn't having anything to do with me. So it kind of shied away, and so I walked over to it and tried to put the halter on the horse. It shied away again. Well, the third time I tried, the horse took off like a bolt of light, and I did not want to let the horse get the upper hand of me, so I started chasing after it with the halter in one hand and my fist in the air, telling the horse to stop. Well, it did not do any of these. Did I mention it was a hot day? I mean, it was hot. It was over, probably close to 100. I mean, the devil was coming up because it was so hot to escape the heat. But anyway, so I was just tired. The tongue was dragging the ground, full of dust from the excursion. Well, I remembered something. I was reading a horse magazine, and this guy named Dusty, who was a bronc rider, and broke horses. He had a problem with a horse that was he was always getting bucked off. And after his face became a dirt torpedo for like the fourth time, he dusted himself off, and then he walked as far away as he could from the horse, over to the other side of the corral. And he just stood there with his back to the horse. Well, it wasn't long before this horse was curious. And so he walked over to the cowboy, and the cowboy could feel the hot, moist air of the horse. He did a 180, walked over to the horse, he walked right past it to the opposite end of that corral. Well, wasn't long before that horse was following Dusty all around the corral. And that's how this horse, Dusty broke this horse. So I figured, if it works for Dusty, it's got to work for me. So I stopped chasing the horse, and I walked over to the far edge of the enclosure. And I waited. And I waited. It was hot outside. I thought, well, I'll just give it a little bit more time. So I waited. And I waited. And I waited. Took a look behind me. There that horse was just chewing on some grass, not even paying any attention to me. So I figured I was going to wait just a little bit longer. And from behind me, I could hear somebody say, Alan, are you okay? It was my wife. Alan, why are you standing so still? What's wrong? And I said, don't bother me, honey. I'm going to figure this out. I was waiting for that hot one. That's right. Of course, he breathed on my neck. It never did. I just stood there, and Amber said, Alan, are you okay? You look like an idiot standing out there. Come in from the heat. So I threw down the halter and came inside. Later that day, my daughter came back from where she was at, and we told her the story, and she said, Dad, you can't let that horse get the upper hand of you. What's the matter? Are you an idiot? Well, apparently I was. But I decided if I couldn't help get the horse to cooperate, I knew that, and fortunately, she was able to get the horse all healed back up again, and none the worse for wear. A day later, I was kind of talking to my neighbor across the fence and talking about things, and he said, "Hey, I saw you chasing after that horse yesterday. It sure was hot, wasn't it?" I said, "Yeah, it sure was. Oh, I tell you, I was mad at that horse." And my neighbor said, "So you must be going to go on a vacation." Vacation? What do you mean vacation? Oh, you mean you must be going to like Miami Beach or Hawaii or maybe the Caribbean? And I said, "Well, no, I'm not doing any of that." "Well, are you sure? Because I could swear I could hear you talking something about a sunny beach." Well, I said, "No, I'm not going on any vacation." And from that time on, I decided that although I may not be a rootin' tootin' cowboy, I sure did give it my best. And fortunately, everything turned out all right. But I guess my pride was hurt a little bit. But so be it.
Thank you, Alan. That was a funny story. And it was funny, so that's good then. And we will have 1 minute of silence for the judges.
That's good if you sign your ballots and tear them off, please. So
What district you'll be in? You really want to get broken up. We're in District 7. To be my young man. I was supposed to know what's out there. And that's still with that. Yeah, I signed it up here.
Our next contest is table will answer. I will read the question. Each contestant, you'll free get 5 minutes to think of your answer and make notes, and we draw numbers, and the one that has number 1 will stay and give his answer.
Madam Chair, I think that it's more appropriate to have all but one of those leave the room, and then they get the question as they come in, when they come in.
So
So
they don't get to hear
they
the
don't get
question
to hear
before
it
they
in
left. That's what I
advance.
thought. Okay, so we'll draw numbers. 2 and 3 will leave. 1 will ask the question, and then they get 5 minutes to answer the question, or to think about their answer. Where did 5 minutes come in?
I don't think we really need that.
Yeah, because
Is
you
there a
don't get to
minimum
think about
requirement?
your
That's
answer.
actually for the evaluation contest, I think, isn't it, Pete?
That makes,
Yeah, that's the evaluation contest. So this one
Yeah.
is, we just send 2 and 3 out of the room, and
okay,
and 1 stays, you read, and
perfect.
it'll go.
I'll let you get first.
Can't read them all.
No. Alright, who's lucky number 1?
I am.
You're good.
Mark, would you rather have one so you feel, so you don't need to go out and come back in? If you want to, you just, if you want.
Well,
I'm offering it, is that even
That would be
appropriate?
wonderful. That would be wonderful. I like
Yeah.
that idea.
I have one more question.
Sure.
Is there any minimum time limit on this? I mean,
1
that
to
I
2.
must
1 minute.
speak as long as, how long?
1 to 2 minutes?
1 to 2 minutes. And if I go over 2 minutes, I can go 2:30 then?
Correct. If you go longer than 2:30, you're disqualified. Would you like to switch numbers with Alan?
Do you like to switch them?
Yeah,
So you have to go down.
I'll go for it.
Alright, so we will ask Melody and Alan to go to our secure location. Mark is first, Melody's second, and Alan's third. Close this door. So we just wanna close the door. Okay, Mark, I will ask you a question, and then as soon as you start speaking, the timers will start timing you.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and go on up to the front of that.
Come on up here, Mark.
Okay.
Thank you for being part of the conference.
Well, thank you for having me.
Mark Nelson, table topic question. Your 7-year-old son returned from school with a very red eye. After interrogating him, he finally told you that Derek, your boss's son, hit him. How do you deal with it?
Well, being a person that was bullied himself when I was young, I guess to start with, I could share what my experience was. I don't know, my father, he went out to the farm to feed cows in the wintertime he'd come in for the weekend. And of course, then when he went back out again, well, he always give him a little kiss, And then, I don't know, when I was about 5 years old, the next door neighbor, there's a little girl there, was about the same age as my neighbor above me, my neighbor down below me. We all rode on the bus, and my neighbor above me was awful jealous. And what happened was, well, we were always kind of wrestling and stuff. And but he bullied me. And in our local school system in recent years, there's been a lot of people trying to educate others on how to get your kids not to bully. And one, of course, separationist type of behavior is one way for kids not to be close to being bullied and stuff. Personally, if I had a 7-year-old boy and he was bullied by the neighbor, the people to consult would be go talk to the father and don't face the father directly of the bullied son. Face the father over the telephone. Tell the father over the phone that his boy was beating up on your boy immeasurably and unnecessarily. So talk to the people and talk to his teacher. Get it straight with the teachers. Get it straight with the principal, and get it straight with the minister if you've been taking your boy to church. These are people that play the parenting role that can help my 7-year-old boy. And I really thank you for having me up here. I hope I've spoken long enough and not too long. But that just was a serious topic for me.
We'll have 1 minute of silence for the judges.
Who's the next contestant?
Melody. Melody Keller, your single topic question. Your 7-year-old son returned from school with a very red eye. After interrogating him, finally told him that Garrett, the boss's son, killed him. What do you do with this?
Well, that's interesting. Problem. For me, it wasn't for him. I think I would start out by making sure that we did some treatment for the eye. Being a doctor, my first concern would be making sure his eye was alright. Probably find some eye drops, maybe some ice packs, make sure there was nothing physically actually wrong with his eye, and help him figure out to deal with it that therapy. And then I want to know what actually happened. I'm going to tell you the story. Certify what were the circumstances around this? At 7, boys, sometimes things happen by accident, sometimes it's a bully situation. It's really hard to know who started what and why it happened. And once I got that information, I probably talked to him to see what he thought, whether there ought to be something to pursue, or whether we should just let it drop. Even as boss, I would be a little bit hesitant to confront the parents, since there's more to it than just that. But if it became necessary, then circumstances actually did warrant it to be bullying, I would definitely go and bring it up as find a solution. But I would encourage the boys to try to work it out first. Thank you, Melanie. You're on your way to be a wonderful mom. Thanks. We'll have 1 minute of silence for the judges. And last but certainly not least, Alan Rose. Alan, I'm going to turn over here and I'm going to ask you a handicapper's question. Your 7-year-old son returned from school with a very red eye. After interrogating him, they finally told him that Garrett, the boss's son, hit him. How do you deal with this?
Hello, Toastmasters. First of all, I would look closely at my son and make sure that other than a red eye, make sure that he could see well. I mean, if he gets hit in the eye, I mean, who knows what could happen. But make sure in the beginning that my son is other than a red eye, he's going to be all right. Probably the second thing I would do is probably talk with my boss at a convenient time for me. Probably not at work. I would probably ask to see him after work and tell him the situation that has occurred. And probably what I would do first though is talk to my son and try to get his story. Then I would go to my boss and tell him what my son had told me. And then that way it would be the ball would be in my boss's court. He could talk to his son and come back and meet me at another time. And if their stories don't jive, then I think probably I would ask to see all of us, my son and me, my boss's son and his son, my boss and his son, and talk it over and see just what was the problem, and hopefully we can get it figured out before it becomes a roller coaster.
Alright, we'll have 1 more minute of silence for the judges.
Thursday, I was applying for sheets.
Now let me know if there are any disqualifications.
Also, let you know, they are on their side.
Alright, sounds great. Well, then I will interview our contestants. Alan, we're just gonna start with you. You write wonderful articles for the Ranger Review titled Ramblings from the Heart. Tell us what inspired you to start those.
Well, probably, I guess I've always liked people writing. It's actually, I communicate with people who are written rather than verbal. That's one reason why I joined Toastmasters, and hopefully better able myself to talk to people through the verbal. But I had applied for a job, I think at I hope to get that job. I thought that I would actually had a really good chance of getting it, and I got the job. And there's been a string of other things that hadn't quite gone my way, so I think that's the album. I think it was in March of the year, in March, we were starting to get farmers thinking about getting ready for kids. So I kind of wrote a little article about that, and I seemed to like it, and that's where that's kind of how it started.
Well, I enjoy it. Thank you. And I think you're very good at verbal. I like listening to you because you can tell you're thinking about what you're going to say. I tend to ramble. So I appreciate how good you are. Melanie, Dr. Melanie Keller, will you please tell us about your medical practice and if you have any specialties and where you're located?
Sure. I have my practice here in Glendive. I share space with Taylor Wellness Chiropractic. As of either January or February, my office will be therapy, be a little bit closer to where I live, which will make life a little bit easier because a 100-mile round trip, a few days a week, it sounds like not a bad idea. So, as far as specialties go, I do a lot with women's health, but I also treat men. I do a lot of work with hormones, particularly fatigue, weight loss, energy, helping people with their energy back, and gastrointestinal health. So, acid reflux, heartburn, irritable bowels, that sort of thing. That get back to feeling better by using the most natural methods possible.
Mark, you recently rejoined Toastmasters after you moved here to our new location. What made you rejoin us? What do you like about Glendive Medical Center location?
Well, thank you, Donna. I was, the reason I never attended meetings this summer was because that over at the coffee den they have a long staircase going down. There's about 20 steps, and they're like full 80-inch steps, you know. And I have had cortisone in my left hip 3 times, cortisone in my right hip twice, and it takes me some time to recuperate. Of course, I have a weight condition, and of course, that makes me tired climbing up these stairs and everything. And the last part of your question was what?
What do you like about our location?
Oh, what do I like? I think that this new location is just utterly beautiful. And one of my members in Alcoholics Anonymous, he once said that when you want to get a good AA meeting going, he says, make sure you always have a table. And of course, being a person that's been through a lot of domestic living and cleanups and stuff like that, living in the country, I've learned that the more surface area you have in your home, you know, the more efficient your domestic life is gonna be. So, you know, and of course you gotta clean off surface tables too and so on. But I didn't mean to make that such a deep topic. Forgive me for being such a long talker.
No, and I appreciate what you're saying about kind of having a clean space because
Yeah.
my kids will testify that I like, you know, nice, clean, orderly.
Right. I was gonna say one more thing. I even wrote a speech about the stair lift. Yeah, I wrote a speech and Pete, it's in one of my manuals.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Smart.
Thank you.
All right. We don't have ribbons today, but we do have certificates, so I have to pass those out. And our humorous winner today is Alan Roos. Yay! And being the winner, you get to advance to the area contest, which is tomorrow night at the library, 7 o'clock. Thank you, Alan, very much. And our table topics, we do have one disqualification, but our first place winner is Melody Keller. Second place goes to Alan Rose. And just to clarify, with our area contest tomorrow, it's the Glendive Club, Williston Club, and the Mount City Club. And it's just the humorous. Do they
Humorous
also
and
have
table
any
topics.
topics? So it'll be just like this?
I have another question.
For your club? And do we have a pretty good turnout? Have you heard from Williston and Mount City?
I have not.
Okay.
I heard from the division governor, but I have not heard from the other two clubs.
The division governor, where are they?
The division governor, Sarah Giese, is in Belgrade, and the contest for on October 6th is in Bozeman. That's Saturday. I think that's the 6th. The 5th? Thank you. October 5th is Saturday, 9 to noon in Bozeman. I have the location in there.
Excuse me. I wanted to ask you, Donna, I was curious about what my time was on mine. Was I one of the ones disqualified?
Mark, you never get to know.
Well, it's pretty obvious. There were three of us.
You never.
There were three speakers. I'd like to know,
In contest, you never.
because
get
I
to
thought I
know.
was pretty good.
You're definitely good at answering the questions. And as far as, I think it all just comes down to the time. And with contests, we never get to know what
Well,
the
you
times
said,
were.
how many was in table topics?
Well, that's immaterial.
How many contestants? You see, there was, you had three, there was, I don't know, I guess it was either 3 or 4. You talked about one disqualification, and that was in table topics too.
Correct.
So.
I'll
I must
explain
have
it to
been
you.
over. My
I'll
time.
explain it to you later, Mark. Let me explain it to you later.
Well, there's no explanation necessary. I just wanted to know what my time was.
Watch the lights.
Yeah, I think that's what I was disqualified for. I talked too long. Is all. Well, that's cool, I guess. I can understand that.
Chief Judge Pete,
I was
do you have
watching the light
anything
too, but
to add before we finish our meeting today?
I do. This is the most unusual meeting of the year, and it was a great meeting. Alan has given that speech apparently once before, and was eligible to give it again since it's of his own creation, and that was just way over the top. That's definitely a humorous winner. And the table topics, each person did an outstanding job. So I congratulate you on having a very successful local annual speech contest. We can be proud of Toastmasters, Glendive, no matter what happens tomorrow night. You guys did great. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Nancy. What made you come down to the meeting today? Did you see a poster or?
Actually, Christine Burbatch is a volunteer services officer. You mentioned that Toastmasters was I attended a few Toastmasters meetings in the past when I was in coastal, which is what to say I want to go there. But anyway, I was in the DECA program, and one of our goals in DECA was to attend a meeting in Great Falls, and the one thing that we discussed was public speaking. In order to do an efficient job of public speaking, he wanted us each to attend Toastmasters for about a month to a month, just so that we were able to communicate better to the judges and knew how to present things and things like that. And I enjoyed the topics that were discussed there. I thought it was really, really interesting. And I just wanted to see more about it.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. And today was a contest, so it's a little normal than our different meetings. We don't usually have any silence, but to be honest, I really enjoyed that after this week. I like the silence. But our meetings are fun, and we always have different topics, so we would love to have you come back and spread the word that we're down there. And we meet every second and fourth Thursday afternoon. Yes, Mark?
Now, did you say that they're gonna have there'd be another meeting tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night at the library, in the basement of the library, 7 o'clock, area contest, be just like today. And Alan, will you be a speaker tomorrow?
I unfortunately will not be.
Okay.
I planned on it, but I haven't.
And do we have any speakers for tomorrow? Are there any speakers going on?
Our winners should advance. Can you advance some of them?
I don't know if I can make it down or not. I'll see.
Well, I suppose, yeah, I could go and speak in the competition for
Qualify,
people
Mark.
help.
You have to be
Yeah,
a
qualified.
winner to advance.
Oh, I see, okay, well, that settles that.
So what do we do there?
Well, I will be at the library. And we'll find out.
Do you need extra help?
Oh, absolutely, need extra help.
So if you're
Please come and
able to,
serve as a judge or counter or
sure, we'll find something to
timer or
talk
something.
about. But thank you for a wonderful meeting, and I do hope to see as many as possible tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at the library. Thank you.